What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 30 of the Get Involved Comedy Podcast. My name is Adam D. Parsons.
I'm Mike Keegan.
And we have a guest here at our studio at the Revolution Comedy Club. First,
Richard Cyr. How you doing?
and of course,
John Rickenbacker, a.k.a. Fudge.
you know him as Fudge.
You know me as the You'll find out later tonight, the second year anniversary of the Revolution.
That's right.
I have
2 year
Fudge.
anniversary is here, and I can say every time, I'm glad they didn't kick us out yet.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Surprised they let us come back.
Well, I got a little worried at first because I showed up a little bit early and the doors were locked, the lights were off. I'm like, okay.
We've had nights like that before where that was the whole show. Where no one
No, that
comes
wasn't
at
by
all.
accident.
No, that was fine. So I mentioned these guys earlier here. It is our 2 year anniversary of Revolution. Been doing shows here. It's actually 2 years today, February 25th.
Yeah!
Nice.
Love it. Love this place.
It's a great venue here. If you haven't come down before, definitely want to come down to one of the shows. If not tonight, because this won't be forced until tomorrow, but whatever. Anyway, so I talked about you guys earlier, the topic of tonight's podcast, only kind of just ad-lib, but I want to talk about comics stealing other comics' jokes.
Yes.
I think we've all been at a show before where we heard somebody say something that sounded familiar, you might not know where it was, or you might know where it was from.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a story I want to get into in a couple minutes, though, but we'll start maybe with Mike. Have you been at a show before? You seen this happen?
I've seen it. That's usually how I get most of my material. I've been at a few shows. I'm not gonna mention any names. There's one comic.
Yeah, no names tonight.
I guess I did 2 shows with them kind of back to back, and both shows, one of my different friends said, "Oh, I've heard that bit from Jim Jeffries. I've heard that bit from Ricky Gervais." I'm like, the same guy. I'm like, so it's like he said he's known.
What was
to
the guy's
steal.
name again?
And what do you think, though? I mean, obviously you think it's wrong.
You know
but,
what? Because the thing is, people have similar premises. I mean, there's so much comedy. People are gonna have similar premises. When you have such maybe like an oddball kind of punchline, or just like word for word, that's like, come on, you know, this is what we do, and like people work hard to get their stuff out there.
Hardly work for
Or
it.
hardly work.
Personally, I could never even live with even if I knew, like, there was a joke that nobody would even know, I would know it, and I just wouldn't be able to do it. Like, even if I've done a joke that's similar to something else, and I didn't know that, I would stop doing that joke,
Yeah.
because I just like doing my jokes original, and I don't want any,
Yeah.
plagiarism is just horrible.
Right, definitely. How about you, Fudge? Anything that you've
Well, I got a cerebral palsy joke, and I
Oh, there goes my set. Damn it.
Who's going up
Like, everybody
first?
always thought I was
Whoever's
the
going up
monkey.
first tonight gets to use that.
I'm going to use all his black jokes.
I got flesh tone gloves on right now.
Actually, I do have an example of, I'm from Connecticut, and there's some comedians, no names, but he was doing a set, and about 3 or 4 people said, "Wait a minute, that's Wanda Sykes' joke." And he did another joke, "That's JD's move." Wait, somebody like,
He's a girl.
Wow.
She's a girl.
Fighting
She's a
off
girl.
Wanda.
I know.
Some guy is fighting off Wanda
I know.
Sykes.
When he started talking about how his vagina hurt, it's like, okay, yeah. It's sort of like, okay, something's wrong with that joke, but, I mean, people were laughing, but it's just, people started calling him out on it, and he really didn't know what to say. That's why, for me, because like he mentioned before, he's going to be ripping off all my cerebral palsy jokes, but when I first started doing comedy, I never heard of Josh Blue.
Yeah.
And when I started getting into comedy, people started mentioning, "You got to see him." I refuse to watch anything he has ever done. I refuse to even see what he does, because if you don't know, he's a comic that has cerebral palsy, and I don't want to know, because I like just doing myself and being original, and I don't want to know what anybody else does.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's
even subconsciously, like something that if you listen to him, you'd be like, "That's a good idea," and then the next day you think it's all yours and you write it.
Exactly.
Subconsciously,
You're gonna say, "Oh wait, no."
you didn't do it on purpose, but it could just.
And that's the main reason I stay away from any kind of. People send me clips and like, nope, I don't want to watch it. So
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because I was listening, because what also tends to happen too, not only stealing jokes, but usually people that write for other people steal jokes. I was listening to Mike Epps talk about how Kevin Hart has writers. And back in the day, like Eddie Murphy used to have, Paul Mooney used to write for him and make his punchlines stronger and just kind of put his thoughts together. But what wound up happening is a lot of writers now that are writing for these big names are going to like the comedy clubs and watching guys like us perform that work hard, that's trying to get to that level, and taking their jokes and giving it to somebody on a higher platform. Yeah, so
And it puts us at such a disadvantage.
yeah, very much so.
It's already at a disadvantage because they already have a name.
Right.
I had a good premise for a TV show though, because I was thinking about this. Like big name comedians, they could have the worst set, but people would just start giving them standing ovation or laughing just because of their name.
Just a name, yeah.
I was thinking about this. What if we had like 4 big name comedians and they do all our jokes? See what the laugh.
Yeah.
Then we go on stage and do their jokes without people knowing, and see like people just.
That's a good idea.
I would love to
Yeah.
see the reaction. People, like Jerry Seinfeld getting, or just using David Tell getting a standing ovation doing one of my jokes while I'm doing one of his jokes, and you're like, get off the stage.
Yeah.
That's probably a good point, though. But I think like I listen to comments on the radio on the radio because I have Sirius XM, which I'll get to that also with my original story here. But I can hear I read a joke. I think I can hear Tosh saying that. I can hear Ed Jelzak saying that joke had a joke. And I think if I wrote something that they wrote, if I put it on stage, I think it actually would kill. I think it's really the material that would really get over, not so much, again, in that case, the name, but I think you're right. If a big name says a joke that we might have written, it might go over a lot better than, say, if we wrote it.
And it's more just of who they are, not what they're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, because like the shows that they do, like you're there to see David Tell. You're not there to see Mike Keegan. You don't.
Not yet.
People,
Not yet.
People are there. That's your audience, and it's so much easier for you to.
Yeah.
But it's just like even with that too, because like what I've noticed that especially when you go in to see a certain comic, people look for the openers because they want to like them too.
Yeah.
And that's why I see like a lot of times the openers kill more than the headliner. And but it goes back to it. It's just like if your material is not being seen by you, it's just like if people not seeing you do your material, then that's a disadvantage. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So you listen to radio. I listen to a lot of comedy. I watch it a lot, but I also listen to it a lot. I hear a lot of the same jokes. So I listen to some of the bigger names out there. And there's a Comedy Central radio promo that actually has a comedian's joke. And I've heard it many times. I actually heard the full set recently. I was doing a show maybe on Monday night. Yeah, Monday night. And I heard a comedian up there, newcomer to comedy, only a couple shows into it, they mentioned to me. But they did their bit, line for line.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I said also voice inflection at all at certain points. So just to add to the jokes. And people were laughing because maybe not the most well-known comedian of all time that the person was doing the jokes of, but I knew.
Yeah.
And I got to think other people there knew also. And then the person ended up stumbling over the jokes, mess up the punchlines to make it even worse. It wasn't a seamless transition into ripping them off.
Do you call them? I will raise my hand like I'm in class.
Yes, sir.
Raise my fingers. So do you call them out? Like, is it right to call them out on it though? Like, cause like you would think
That's part of where I want to
the
get to
comic.
also.
The comic.
Would you do that? Would you do it to that person right face to face? Again, we've been doing comedy for a while. We're not the big established name, so I don't know if I'm not right to call somebody out who's, maybe starting off recently.
I think, in that case, they're blatantly stealing it, but I think you're also doing them a favor because they're just going to embarrass themselves. Just like don't be nasty about it, I guess. But I would call them out and be like, listen, that either it's a similar premise or that's a joke that I've heard.
But in this case, it wasn't similar. It was literally the bit.
I just try to tread lightly about it because people will get embarrassed.
That's why I'm telling like I want to let her know.
I think you're doing them a
or
favor.
him know.
Yeah.
This is what you're doing. This comedian's joke.
Yeah,
That happened to me recently. I did a show, and the feature was funny. Where I have a real job. Comedy isn't comedy's a great hobby, but doesn't pay the bills.
Right.
At the job, I had because people know that I'm a comedian. So what was that?
I said,
Okay.
you don't pay the bill.
Don't pay any bills, though.
So everybody comes up to me, you got to tell us, you got to tell that joke. So I just listened to them. A customer did this joke, and I was hosting a show, and the feature started doing his closer. I said, where did I hear that before? I was like, oh my God, a customer told me that joke. And I was like, I wanted to tell him, it's like, you know what? I don't know what joke book you got that out of. But,
exactly. Yeah.
It's like, because according to like his bio, he worked with Leno and did other things. He's an established comedian, but it's just like he's
Maybe the customer heard that joke and telling you to do it.
That could be that could be. I never even thought of it that way. Yeah, that could be it. Maybe
It could be vice versa. He could be that big, or somebody saw him.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, though, I'd watch maybe, I don't know, like the Comedy Central Presents. I like the old Dane Cook jokes there, and I would say them like in my everyday life. People not to know what they were. Not saying, I wrote this joke, just like saying lines from it and things like that. And I thought it'd be hilarious.
Mike, we brought it up too, and Mike said it too. It's like, when you have similar themes and you have funny people, you're gonna think of the same type of line. Like, all right, let me take it to this direction. That's the one thing I do like about myself, because like with my jokes, there's not too many people that are walking around with a cloth.
Right, exactly.
So it makes it a little bit harder.
You and Crane Games, that's about it.
Somebody ripping off my act already?
Yeah.
Respect the gadget villain.
You can use that one if you like. But like you said, people get inspired by certain things. They throw jokes out there. So people do this. So like what inspires you? Like what type of jokes you hear, comedians you like that kind of inspire you to write jokes. Like sometimes like I'll watch something on YouTube, like I need an idea, and I hear comedians telling jokes about me, like the weather or abortion. I don't know. And I'm like, I need an abortion joke. I need a weather joke, so I kind of work off there. I get ideas from other people. So that's kind of what I do. Those are the
Abortions in the weather.
it's a wide range. It's a wide range. What were you guys? Where helps you? Like if you're stumbling, if you're writer's block, that's what I'm looking for. Where do you go to turn to get it out?
That is hard for me. There's one time literally I was snowed in for 3 days. I'm going to just write a whole bunch of jokes. I couldn't think of one thing.
Yeah.
3 days later, I had 5 pages. I really cannot sit there and think about it. It's sort of like even when I'm on stage. If I say, you know what, I'm going to do a couple of jokes and I'm going to go in the audience and just start doing some improv, it's like, no, it's not going to happen. I just have to let it happen.
Right.
So same thing with joke writing. Like one day, I probably won't have something for like a month, and then 2 days I'll have like 6 pages of notes. So for me, it just inspiration has to come to me. But what I'll do is like, so right now a lot of my set is about me. So what I'll do is I'll take some real life experiences and then completely exaggerate them, make it funnier. And so that's what I've been doing now lately. I've been doing it for about 2.5 years now. And
Yeah,
it's been working for me so far.
To inspire me, I just listen to Adam Parsons' weather and abortion jokes.
I have an abortion joke.
It's raining babies.
I like to, I like to listen to good storytellers. I like kind of telling stories. Guys that are kind of working class comics talk about going out and drink. Like that's kind of like a Tom Segura. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, Tom's good.
I like listening to him. And then like I was with a comedian yesterday, and he said, I listened to the newest Bill Burr special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was saying that he's like, and that just first of all inspired me, made me feel like a shitty comedian. He's like, I had to listen to like I forget what other comedian. He's like, I had to listen to 20 minutes of that just so I could ground myself. I had to listen to Bill Burr.
Yeah, but the funny thing is I mean, I just read an interview with him. He's been doing it for like 20-something years. He said the first like 15 years.
That's what
he
they
sucked
usually
in.
end up being.
Yeah, I mean, like,
But there's some prodigies out there too.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
there is,
sometimes
yeah.
you just get it. You know, it's just like experience. It's either how long it took you to learn or how long you're doing it right.
Like,
Yeah.
look at David Tell. To me, he's one of the funniest working comedians.
Absolutely.
And he said for the first 10 years he felt uncomfortable on stage. And you look at him now, I mean, he's just a natural up there. I can never picture him being uncomfortable.
Right, especially with,
You get
with
that
his
check.
act, the way he does
You
it.
get that check.
You get that check, you get better
Yeah,
comfortable.
no,
You be like, oh, word, I don't gotta try no more. Thank you. Cha-ching, I'll be doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, comics, we feel like shit when I listen to them, when we go, Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
Because look at what that guy can fucking do
Yeah.
at like, 22, 23 years old. It's incredible what he can do with
Yeah.
the music and the joke, and his delivery is on point. When I listen to him, I'm like, I have to get better, like, now. And I never do. But that's beside the point. But when I hear him, I think this is, I don't know, for him, he's like one of the top right now, I think. Not of all time, but right now.
Who's your favorite of all time?
All time, Lewis Black. I can't do what he does. No one can do what he does. Political jokes, I can't even touch him. But Lewis Black,
My
hands
favorite
down.
of all time is George Carlin.
George Carlin's always
I
great.
think, I mean, he's the only one I know that was relevant throughout his whole career. From 40 years, from Hippy Dippy Weatherman all the way to his last one is Bad For You. I mean, he
Yeah.
still stayed funny, consistent. But somebody brought up a great point. They said, like, if you take his jokes and just had somebody get up on stage and read them, they're more like essays.
Yeah.
Like, he was that
So much
good where
thought
he made it
process.
funny, the way delivery and everything. But if you just read them straight, it's basically an essay.
Like the football versus baseball joke. I
Yeah.
used to be able to recite that line by line
Yeah.
because I love that bit so much.
Well, that's like going to college. You know, that's like taking a class. Like some of the most talented comedians, especially when you're coming up in the game, that's like, you know, you learn it from one of the greatest professors in this game and what you're trying to do. And especially, I don't think a lot of people take the time to really do their homework in that way and really try to find who they are, because I think people are so focused on trying to be that person.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, because they're like, I just want to be Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
You know, because that's where I grew up. That was my all-time favorite. But
Right.
I had to do my homework because Eddie didn't get here. He didn't just appear. I'm Eddie Murphy. He had to, you know, he learned from Richard from Red Fox, and you know, Bill Cosby, all these guys,
Mhm.
Flip Wilson. So I had to become a student in the game of George Carlin, Lenny Bruce, all those guys. You know, because me as being a black comic, you know, or a comic who was black, you know, it's
A comic who was black who has cerebral palsy.
yeah, but cerebral palsy and chocolate palms, and you know, it's important that, you know, I had to learn how to be funny to everybody, you know, because I didn't want to be pigeonholed, because I could easily just go and be like, all right, well, I'm gonna just do these dark rooms.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do the urban rooms.
Yeah.
and just,
But I wanted to be a clean comic. I wanted to be a clean comic,
Yeah.
and they didn't like that, you know. So, I had to learn what made me appealing to everybody
When
else.
I originally started, I wanted to be filthy. I loved Jim Norton when I first started.
Yeah.
So I was just writing filthy, awful stuff. And when I was, getting feedback from like bookers and stuff, like you can't use it if you're using that kind of stuff. So now I write mostly clean, and I get more out of it writing clean. I mean, it's so much harder to write a clean joke and make people laugh.
Well, even
rather
if it's
than
anyone.
Because you can make audiences laugh clean
Yeah.
across the board versus just writing dirty
So
stuff.
much
Because
more rewarding.
again, like you said, pigeonholed. You're not going to have the same audience.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to have the Opie and Anthony audience every time in the
Yeah.
crowd. If you're doing, like I said, I don't know who's a good clean comic out there.
Everybody loves Ryan Regan.
Yeah.
People love him.
Yeah,
But he can appeal to anybody. Exactly. So.
Good example would be Larry David. The way, like, you just, in Seinfeld, the masturbation episode. I mean, the way he didn't even use the word, he knew exactly what he was talking about, but, like, I thought it was more creative to actually go around saying it and made so many other funny expressions, like, I'm the master of my domain. That became a catchphrase in the 90s. For me, my hardest problem, it's definitely getting easier now, was the major obstacle was letting people know it's okay to laugh. I'm making fun of my people, like, oh my god, handicap jokes, and like, I've actually had people in the audience go, there's this one girl go, I want to laugh, I just feel so bad. I'm like, I'm not an inspirational speaker, I'm a comedian, so I look like Tony Robbins, but it's getting better where now I'm actually getting people say, you know what, I love the way like you embrace your handicap, and it's really inspiring to me. I've actually had people do motivational speeches at different places, so it's actually come full circle where instead of like people are going, oh, look at the poor handicapped guy,
So make it work for you.
Yeah,
to your advantage in the end.
And that just keeps coming with experience. Like I'm still only 2 years into the game, so I'm still in the larvae stages. But it's still just in that 2 years, I've learned so much, just getting as much stage time as I can. Going anywhere there's a mic, I'm there.
Too, man.
Right? Obviously.
Yep.
Like that's the like shows like Opie and like you mentioned like going around like saying dirty thing. Like shows like Opie and Anthony, I enjoyed it more when they were on terrestrial radio.
Yeah.
They had to go around saying things. Now they're just on satellite radio. They say whatever the hell they want, and it just loses kind of its genius.
Like at
Because
first
you
you
have to think.
Yeah.
And now you don't have to think anymore. It's everything's spelled out for you. It's given you a little platter.
Yeah.
You're not using your mind any longer. So now that you have it, you lose that, and it's not the same thing.
Once
You're
the
right.
shock value wears off, it's just boring.
Exactly.
Actually, South Park had an episode of that. Like, we can swear.
Go ahead.
Okay, when they want to see how many times they say
swear,
shit.
even if it's like curse.
You know?
You can swear.
Cunt.
But they want to see how many times they can say shit on the air. So I guess like it all started with Oprah. With somebody said it on Oprah's show, and they're like, how come they can say it on daytime TV and you can't say it here? And so at the end of the show, the whole premise was after they we can say it, and they're like, this is boring. I don't even feel like swearing anymore. So like basically it's the same thing. It's like you know what? Now we gotta say it, so who cares?
That's a funny episode though. I've seen like maybe 5 episodes of South Park my entire life. Honest truth. And actually I watched one of that episode just for the fact I'm gonna watch it, and it's like, all right, yeah, exactly. At the end, it's like, all right, you did what you had to do. I understand. I got it. Understood. So 8 o'clock, guys. Time to get this show on the road. I appreciate you guys stopping in here.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely. So other than tonight, we'll start off with Mike. Where are you going to be next?
Friday night I'll be at the brokerage.
I said there was no broker.
Right,
I just asked him right before the show, when's the next broker show? I don't have one planned for a while. I'll be there Friday night and Saturday and Sunday, 3 shows. I can swear again, you bastard.
I'm gonna have a nice little weekend planned. I'm gonna sit at home. No, I'm joking. Now I'm gonna be doing
and copy jokes from
doing
Comedy
jokes in
Central.
the parking lot. I'm gonna be doing jokes. I'm actually doing. We was talking about doing clean. I'm actually gonna be in a church in Baldwin. Yeah, and then I'm going to a comedy club in Connecticut. So
Which ones?
I don't even know yet. It's just an address, so hopefully it's a club of some sort. As long as they give me a paycheck, I'm good.
And Friday I have a benefits relay for life. It's for cancer, and right now I just got off the phone with the girl. It's like over 250 seats sold, so it's going to be a good show.
Nice.
And then Saturday I'm going to be at Greenwich Village Comedy Club in New York City.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we got a couple of shows coming up here in March. Planning those still right now. So March 16th, March 25th, we'll be here again. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Make it down, make it down. If not, we'll see you in March. Thanks a lot. Creepy. All right.
See, that's the reaction I get.
Exactly.
I'm trying to overcome that.
Beautiful. All right, guys. Take care.
All right,
Sounds
have a good
good.
night.